Boom, boom, everybody. This is Cameron. Welcome back to the channel. All right, we got a little bit of Bleach Immortal Souls on tap today, so let's just jump right into it. Defend the Karakura town. So we've got the event. This is a standard event. If you've been in the game, you know about it. Basically, it runs for 7 days, and you want to get as many of the gold tokens as you can. Basically, the characters, they've got one new character in the exchange for it. They've got Abirama here. So if you want to get him, you're gonna need 95. So basically, to get 95, you're gonna need to do it 14. You're gonna need to get 14 tokens, and then one day you're gonna have to get 15 tokens, because 14 tokens will all the 7 days will get you 94. So you're gonna need one day where you actually hit 15. That will get you to 95. If you can't quite do that, you can still get Tozen, because he is at 75. And of course, if you can't get that, you can always go for these Omni Shards. Omni Shards can be used on anybody, so that's definitely something. I'm going to try to get some of those as well. I'm hoping that I'll have enough to get Abirama and have enough leverage, just enough to get me a shards, 5 of the Omni Shards. I'm not sure. I got 19, so 19 on my first day. 7, 7, 9, so 63. 7 6s are 1,133. So that should be 35 and 95. 5, 12, 50. Yeah, I should have just enough to be able to get a 5 pack of Omni Shards and a Abirama as well. Now, let's go take a look at Abirama, though. He's actually got a pretty good skill set. Now, he is a bird, so if you're looking to complete a soul haul and you don't have Shinji, which you should have Shinji if you're doing draws, because Shinji is in the Soul Jade 2.0 draws, so you should have gotten him by now. I do, and I use him because he's actually a pretty good character. He's got excellent rage skill capability. It's fun watching him in the Kenpachi, contest where you fight the one player. I mean, he'll beat characters that are 5, 10, 15,000 more power than him, simply because they never are able to get their rage. He keeps stealing their rage, and they just can't activate their rage skill. That's what makes him such a good character. That's one of the reasons I employ him instead of squad boss, because he keeps the squad boss from annihilating you with that zero, puts it off as much as possible. So he's a pretty good character. But if you don't have him and you need a bird, because you need one bird for your soul haul team, Abirama, so as we can see, he's a bird. He's got a pretty decent skill set. Deals damage to a single enemy, steals 200 rage, so he's got a rage steal from the target, and inflicts the target with 1 stack of armor break for 2 rounds. And armor break is damage received is increased by 8%, so he's got a pretty good damage buff. And you have to understand that that's increasing the damage not just from him, but from others as well. His rage skill deals damage to the enemy front row, so he hits the front row and inflicts target with 2 stacks of armor break. And if any of the targets had armor break previously, they take an additional damage to 4% of Abirama's total hit points. So you definitely want to get his hit points up there as high as possible. And after the weapons awaken, damage increases, and you have additional damage increased, and targets have their attack decreased. So that's pretty nice once you get the weapon awakened. And he is an SSR, so it will be a lot easier to awaken his weapon than some of the Yard characters. And last but not least, if you can get him up to 4 stars at the beginning of Phantom, all enemies are inflicted with 1 stack of armor break. So immediately he's going to apply armor break to everybody. So basically, that's going to be everybody's going to be getting 8% more damage taken from them once he hits, just from his passive skill. Every time a stack of armor break disappears, regenerates a percentage of his total hit points. But this is it's not a bad skill set. I mean, he's an SSR character, so he's not going to be quite as powerful as some of the UR characters when it comes to base of stats. But it's not a bad skill set at all. To actually surprised he's not a UR, to be quite honest, with this skill set. If he was UR, he would be super, super powerful. That's probably why they didn't make him a UR, simply because of the fact that this right here is a pretty damaging skill set. I mean, damage increase. If you get him up to 4, he's immediately going to apply armor break. So, the whole team's going to be taking 8% more damage from everybody. So that's pretty intense. and then he regenerates his health as these armor breaks are removed after a couple rounds. So he's actually going to gain, after 2 rounds, he's going to start gaining. He's going to start getting his hit points back simply because the armor breaks that he applied because the passive automatically applies to all characters. So as those armor breaks, are removed, he's going to get some of his hit points back. So this is going to make him an extremely tanky character as well. But so this is he's a pretty good character actually. I mean, on paper. Well, of course you have to get him, put some invest in him and see if he's worth that. If the actual paper stats actually translate into real world battles, you have to see. But it looks to be an extremely interesting skill set that could be significant in terms of increasing your team with a good support skill, as well as doing some damage. So yeah, not a bad skill set at all. Definitely somebody you might want to consider snatching up. And you want to get him, of course, just because of the collector setup as well. But he does sound like that he could actually be a pretty useful character in terms of what he provides. I mean, he's going to be an SSR, so his stats are not going to be quite as high as the UR characters. So the skill set is what would be the determination as to whether it would be worth just to get an SSR in your primary team. But with an 8% damage increase that you'll do to your to the other team, that gives him a pretty good stat. You're going to have to definitely get him to 4. Putting him before he gets to 4 stars would not be advisable. But once you get into 4 and his passive is activated, he'll be able to start throwing down that armor break, immediately when the battle starts. So that would make him very useful at that time. So yeah, that's a pretty good skill set. Okay, so that's what's in there. So you might want to go for him. If you can't quite get to 95, Tozen is available at 75. And then of course got Lisa and Notora. Lisa is of course a pretty powerful character in her own right, as is Notora is no slack either. However, his Resurrection version is a beast, giving him immunity to for 1 entire round against damage. I've actually wasted my whole team unloaded on him and didn't do any damage whatsoever. So I try to avoid him inside of the arena. So yeah, but you can get Tozen if you come up short. And of course, always go for the Omni Shards if you don't have enough to get a character, because you can use these on any character, and even it's a UR character. So it's it's something in here for everybody. Got some, got an Earth Power. They got a tomb, bodybuilding tomb. So all those can be useful to certain people. And of course, with anything left over, you can get some soul jades and get some coinage. So it's it's a normal standard event. There's nothing anything different about it. And as I say, Aizen is blue, so you want to bring your red attackers. I actually use the same team that I use on Squad Boss. Using a soul hole team against him is not really functional because, I mean, yeah, you'll get the damage in 2 rounds, but this only lasts for 10 rounds. So you probably, if your characters are even remotely, you probably won't die. I think I lost 1 person, but you more than make up for that by the fact that you deal more damage in that in those 10 moves time slots. So what you're basically trying to do is deal as much damage. And since all my red teams are at red 1, I didn't have any problem. He has a bad that attack where he actually causes confusion, where your actual team members attack your other team members is a little annoying, and if that procs several times, it can be damage, especially if you've got some characters doing high damage. So you definitely want to bring a tank in there. I use Full Hollow Ichigo for my tanking purposes. He's the only member of the team that's actually not an attacker. He's a blue himself. So but you definitely don't want to bring in any type of orange, because red gets blue, blue gets orange. So if you bring in orange, he's going to be doing more damage to you and you're not going to have any defensive about it, even if they are a tank. So, but you want to try to bring in some characters that have some hit points, because if he does, if that skill procs quite often, you can your own members can be hitting you, and it can do damage. But I managed to survive it okay. I was right on the cusp. I did it a couple of times. I tried some different setups, and finally accepted the one that had 19. So and that was all red, with except for one blue with full hull Ichiko. But so 19, I'm very close. I might be able to get 21 of the days or something like that. It's just but 14 is your goal. 14, and then one day to get 15. So if you can get 15, you'll be in good shape. You should be able to get Abirama with no problem. But if not, just go for the lower level items. The Omni Shards are a good choice, because you can use those to power up your team on anybody. They'll apply to anybody. You definitely want to use them on UR characters. Try not to use them on SSR characters if at all possible, because you want to focus on your UR team, as that would be your strongest team. So Season Pass is up. If you have been following the Season Pass every single day, like I have, you should have gotten Kaku today. So I do have her now. If we go into the character screen and scroll down here somewhere towards the bottom, we should see Kukaku right here. So we do have Kukaku. So she also fills in the slot for the actual archive as well. So she fills in this slot right here. So you probably already got, most people should already have Ganju, so you should be able to get both. You should have both of these filled in by now. So that fills in another slot. Not going to use her, so I'm not going to worry about powering her up above the base blue. And then I'm going to start taking all my characters to purple, and then purple to gold. And that's probably where I will stop on characters I'm not going to use. Is probably just get them to gold and be done with it. Just for the the advantage that gives you in terms of your overall power buff. We're going to start running up to the point where there's probably not going to be too many characters coming out at a very good clip. So once it gets to that point, it's just going to be working on what you have and getting them out. So yeah, that's it. So that's everything. My skills, not much. I finally got Ilcore V2 up to Red 1. Now if you look at his set right here, he's doing, I haven't quite got his equipment yet up, but I'm working on that. So he's already doing 5-7. His damage is 57,691. And if you look at 57,913, so he's already right on the verge. He will pass him. He's already passing him in defense. He has a higher defense than Iraku. Iraku's health points a little bit more. We're 453. So as you can see, once I get these weapons up to the same level as Iraku and put a War Soul on him, that's actually advantage for him, because this is not. I just put this on him because it has defense. I'm gonna have to reforge that and try to get it to match the orange that Core is. He's a tank. So actually he's blue, so I'm gonna have to get him to blue. But yeah, so he's definitely going to do more damage, as it's obvious once I get his weapons fully up. I mean, I'm just barely got his weapon to gold 1. So once this is fully at red and red 1, he'll be doing plenty more damage than Iraku. So we'll have to put him in and see which one gives me the benefit. Iraku's no slouch anymore. He's definitely the best tank in the game. And he's got some damage increase. It was very minor to boot. But most of the people I'm seeing still are saying that Ilcore still does plenty more damage. And with this defense, steel and defense break capability that he has, it just makes him more useful to the team as a whole. And I think that's what that, because at the beginning, if you look at the passive, at the beginning of the ally front row gains a shield, so he gives you a shield. Okay, and it's 50% of Ilcore's defense, so the higher his defense, okay, the hit points, the higher the shield will be. And then 50% of Elcor's defense is turned into attack. So he's going to do a lot more attack based on how high his defense is. Okay, so that's a pretty good. If you actually start sticking more tortoises on there, you can get an added buff to him as well. And his rage, he deals damage to all enemies. That's another thing I like. Yuraku does not deal damage to all enemies. He deals damage to 3. He'll hit 2. Boom, boom, and then on the third one he does more damage, but he only hits 3 characters, so it doesn't hit everybody. But he deals the damage on and steals 10% of the defense for 1 round. So everybody is going to get a 10% defense reduction, which means you're going to do more damage, of course. And if there is a single target on the field, it steals 40% defense instead. Okay. So he's just got a really good skill set. You see him a lot on teams in PvP. He's a very common character when people want to go with Tortoise. So I'm glad I was able to get him up to 4 and you know, start to level him up. I think it's definitely going to be a little bit of a boost to the team. We'll have to see. But our indications are from everyone is that it will be more powerful now that I've got once I put Urquhart in the team. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm just going to start working on his weapons and get them up. Then I'm going to start going to Red 2 with the characters so I can go into the next story level. I think you have to go into, I think you have to get into 23 to get past Red 2. So I've already, you know, I got 1 star. I got to do the last screen again on this one to get that. And then it's just going to be getting them up to Red 2 and then start doing the elite stages and stuff to get the stars required to jump into the next story level. So it's just a progression. It's all linear, so there shouldn't be anything that you have any trouble. But yeah, definitely want to get them up there. So that's it. So defend the character, chunk, get in there. You got 7 days. Make sure to not miss it, because if you do miss it, it will be extremely difficult to actually get the new Abirama. All right, so thanks a lot for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Once you've subscribed, you'll see a bell. If you click on it, you get notified each time I do drop a video. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can like or share, or you can hit the Patreon page, which will be in the description, links below. So thanks a lot for watching. This is Kenrir coming at you from the corner, signing out.